evening. I am Annie. Breaking news. Sesame Street star The Cookie Monster has gone rogue. He started eating vegetables instead of cookies. What has the world come to? In other news, our weekly history section of our newscast tonight is Communist Leaders at Their Finest. Tonight we will be specifically speaking about Chinese Communist Mao Zedong and Cuban Communist Fidel Castro. December 26, 1893, in the Shaoxiang province of Henan. Reader from his early childhood, and he completed 5 years of education at a local elementary school in his town where he was born in. His family's farm to work for his father, and went to finish training at the capital of Changsha. He began to read works of nationalists, and he felt the effects of the revolutions that were starting up around China, but he wanted to make a change in the country of the crumbling Qing dynasty. In 1918, he studied at Beijing University, and while he was there, he was exposed to people whom later founded the Chinese Communist Party. Mao became the founder member of the Chinese Communist Party, along with many others. Kuomintang Party to defeat northern Chinese warlords, but in 1927, the KMT leader Chiang Kai-shek launched a purge against them. They were able to retreat to the south, and Mao led his cohorts in the Long March, which was a 6,000-mile trek up to a new base in order to fight the KMT. The CCP were temporarily allied, but after the war, civil war broke out among them. The Communists won, and they declared themselves the People's Republic of China, or the PRC, and Chiang Kai-shek fled to Taiwan. Chinese peasants a chance to have a say in what they had freedom to do on their farms. And in 1958, he launched the Great Leap Forward as an agricultural revolution to increase agriculture. But it failed. Mao gave the peasants the freedom to do what they wanted on their farms, but not the money needed to buy tools and supplies to do so. And as a result, a great famine spread across the country and caused Mao's position to weaken. Other leaders took his position. Mao launched the Cultural Revolution to revive the revolutionary spirit in China, and he sent his army to many cities that were on the edge of becoming anarchies. Other leaders assumed his positions, and it all led up to his death in Beijing, China, on September 9, 1976.
He was born the illegitimate son of a poor Spanish immigrant who became a wealthy sugarcane planter in Cuba's eastern province, Oriente. The right-wing governments in the Dominican Republic and Colombia. He then studied law at the University of Havana. In 1959, he used guerrilla warfare to successfully overthrow the Cuban leader Batista. 1959, and then ended his term in 1976, then becoming president later that year, and ruled as president from 1976 to 2008. From 1959 to 2008, and the first secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba from 1961 to 2011. All businesses and industries nationalized, and socialist reforms were implemented in all areas of society. Government established covert military and economic relationships with the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union to put missiles on the Cuban island, which is 90 miles away from the United States during the Cold War. This led to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Literature about himself and his regime, and many collections of his speeches and interviews have been published. Probably no other living political figure has been as thoroughly documented, analyzed, and praised in print as Castro. History of conflict with immigrants in the United States attempting to invade Cuba and overthrow its president, Fidel Castro, with the United States' permission. The States broke diplomatic relationships with Cuba. Of Cuba on April 17, 1961. This attempted invasion at the Bay of Pigs is often referred to as the Bay of Pigs fiasco. The U.S. forces put down easily after just 3 days of fighting, and it was a miserable failure for the United States. Restrictions on travel and trade with the Cuba Democracy Act. Fidel Castro's health declines, and he temporarily steps down from the government, handing it to his younger brother, Raul. He announces his retirement, and his brother finally takes rule.